Working with instructors. If everything you could possibly learn has been written down in a book somewhere, why bother with college? There are some who predicted that the internet would actually kill colleges, but that doesn't seem to be the case. A few years ago, there was a movement in higher education to create these massive online courses called MOOCs. These courses were created by some of the top instructors at the top institutions. The idea was that you would probably be able to provide people anywhere in the world with the benefits of an Ivy League education. Children in the slums of India could take courses from Harvard. It was going to change everything. When they first came out, thousands and thousands of people registered to take these courses, but very few of them completed them. One of the key reasons these courses had such low completion rates had to do with the ratio of students to instructors. One instructor was responsible for thousands of students, and it was impossible to make a connection with even a fraction of the people they were trying to teach. I believe relationships are at the heart of college learning. The relationship that you have with your college instructor is unlike any other kind of relationship that you've had. And like all relationships, it requires the effort of both parties to make it work. Your instructors have done a lot of work to prepare both themselves and their materials to be able to teach you. They've invested a lot of time and effort in creating the ideal conditions to learn. When they come to class, they are optimistic. They genuinely believe they can make a difference in the lives of their students. That hope and optimism fuels what they do and why they do it. They don't even have particularly grand expectations for you or your classmates. Really, what they want is for you to give your best effort. They want you to sincerely try and learn the material. They want you to be open to new perspectives and to be willing to see the world a little differently. If you can understand this, it can greatly influence what you bring to the class. When you see your instructor as someone who is trying to expand horizons and support student learning, you're more willing to trust that professor and to make the efforts he or she is asking you to make. Figuring out how to show that willingness and make clear your good intentions is so important for your success in class. Now, I'm not trying to give you a list of behaviors that you can use to manipulate your instructor into thinking you're a committed student. I'm talking about sincerely building a relationship based on shared hopes and goals. If there is a sense of trust between you and your instructor, it can really streamline the learning process. First, you need to come to class prepared. Don't just do the readings, but look for questions that the readings don't quite answer. Trust me, there's nothing an instructor loves more than sincere questions about what they are teaching. It signals a real desire to learn and an interest in the subject matter. Be alert and attentive in class. Put away your phones, and if you use a computer to take notes, close any social media apps so that your instructor has your full attention. No matter how subtle you may think you're being, it is pretty obvious when distracted by a post or a website. Not only can these distractions affect your learning, but they can also affect the learning of those sitting around you. Open laptops and visible phones are almost impossible to resist. I hate going out to eat at restaurants with dozens of flat screens all over the wall because I find it so hard to concentrate on the conversation I'm having. It doesn't matter if the team playing is one that I don't care about. Taking my eyes off those screens is almost impossible. Your phones and laptops have the same effect for other students in the class. Now get to know your instructor. Find out how they would like to be addressed. Some want you to call them by their first name. Some like to be called professor. If they have their doctorate, some might like to be called doctor. I know that when I finally finish my dissertation, everyone, even my kids, is going to call me doctor at least for a couple of days. At the very least, get to know why they are teaching the subject they're teaching. Try to understand their passion. It will help you find your own motivation for when you are called upon to teach, and you will eventually be called upon to teach. If your instructor has hobbies or interests, inquire about those as well. Now, naturally, you want your instructor to see you as an individual, a person with experiences, needs, and wants. Your instructors are people too, and they have those same needs. Finally, don't limit your efforts to just getting to know your instructor. Take the time to build a sense of community by getting to know your fellow students. When you know the names and interests of the people around you, you help to create an environment that is ripe for learning. These are also the people that will form study groups with you and share notes from the class that you missed. By simply treating one another with courtesy and respect, we foster the best conditions for learning. It can energize your instructors and your classmates. It can reduce anxiety, and it can lay the foundation for relationships that could last your entire life. I still reach out to past professors for guidance, feedback, and even reference letters. And I've been able to do this because of the efforts I put into getting to know them and letting them get to know me.